honestly, I'm gonna need Feeling Good by Nina Simone to drop right now. Somebody play it right now because that's the energy I'm feeling right now. Welcome to 2024, bro. We made it. What the fuck? It's January of a new year. It's the first day of a new year. Oh my gosh. We in here. No, we in here. And we're gonna talk about what January has to hold, because I already talked about what's gonna happen in a little bit of detail in regards to this entire year, but I thought it would be cool to, chop it up about what might happen this month. So I hope you're enjoying this, because welcome to Numbers with Jacari. I'm your host, Jacari, but you already know, call me Ace. And in this episode, like I said, we're going to be talking about what's to come in January. But we're not only going to be talking about just the overall energy, we're also going to be talking about the portals that everybody loves to bring up, but also days to look out for in regards to those portals. Also, like not even checking, but looking into the numerology of those days and a bunch of cool stuff. So if you're liking what you're hearing, make sure you share it on your socials and tag me at Numbers Jacari on Instagram or TikTok. And all the direct links are in the description of this episode. I do have services if you're interested. And if you want to learn more about your personal numerology and about how this month will impact you, I would definitely recommend checking that out. But let's go ahead and get into this, because 2024 ain't trying to play with nobody. Because we're starting today in a universal 9 month, on a universal 1 day, and a universal 8 year. Ooh, like where's the person who be sprinkling the salt like that? That's what this energy is. It's just that sprinkle, because you have 9 and 1 in this energy. 9 being ruled by Mars and Neptune, and 1 being ruled by the Sun. And 1 and 9 reflect each other. Reflections are 2 numbers that sit on opposite sides of the same vibration. And ain't nobody trying to play with y'all. These numbers ain't trying to play with y'all. Nobody's trying to play with you, because power is such a potent ass theme for today, but also this month, because you have not only 1 and 9's rulers, but you also have 8 being ruled by Saturn and Pluto, and there's just so much intensity. Oh my gosh, it's just strong. I just feel like there's some just ripped ass person just over here like, ugh. Is very much how this month is giving, just off of day one. Like, numerologically speaking, that's the energy that it's giving. And I'm honestly not really mad at it. And it's like, I think that last year being that universal 7 year, and also being last month being that universal 1 month, this is very much a jarring shift in a way of just like we're jumping back and forth between this energy of like yesterday was a 157 day, and that is I don't say it's very soft. I won't say that, but I'll say that it's very introspective. Now this energy today of this 918 energy is very much externally focused and also very push. 9 is very push, 1 is very push, and 8 is very just move. Like, especially with Pluto in there, it's intense. So I just am excited to see what will play out this month. So we're starting this month in that 918 energy, but we're ending this month in this 948 energy. So whereas we're starting in this intensity, and it's not saying that we're not going to end in intensity, we're starting in this intensity, but we're ending in this energy that encapsulates not only the rulers I mentioned previously, but also Uranus, Mercury, the South Node, and Saturn again. So there's emphasis around Saturnian themes, but also a mental stimulation because we have Mercury now thrown into that mix alongside Neptune. So I'm excited to see a lot of the conversations and the power plays that are made this month. I feel like there's a strong emphasis on power dynamics, authority figures, things around the government, things around autonomy, freedom of speech, laws, justice, just so much stuff. I feel like this month we're gonna see some stuff. And also, all of these numbers that we're starting and ending this month in have a rebellious energy to them. I know that with 8 being ruled by Saturn and also 4 being ruled by Saturn, their rebellious side might not always get the credit it deserves, but nah, they can tussle. They can tussle. So I'm really excited how it's gonna play out. Now, moving on to the important, impactful, universal days, because you do also have personal numerology for this month. So even though I'm talking about how it's starting in this universal 9-month and on a universal 1 day, universal 8 year, you have personal numerology. And I actually talk about this and break it down in my Intro to Numerology guide. But this is also something that I do for my clients if that's something that you're interested in. And I also do in readings of really giving you an insight onto your personal forecast, because you do have this universal energy. You will experience this. But the thing about your personal numerology will give you confirmation, or not confirmation, but just see how you will interact with this universal energy. Just because you have personal numerology and universal numerology, it doesn't mean that they don't interact. It's like transits. It's like transits in astrology, but it's numbers edition. So you're going to have some level of interaction, and that personal numerology is giving you is giving you communication on how you will interact with the two. Now, also, I want to say Mercury retrograde. I think Mercury is going direct today. So I'm also, again, excited to see the conversations and the communication that happens this month, because I know a big theme for last year in general was misinformation. So I'm excited to see how, with 8 being connected to realism and practicality, and also there's a level of trust and honesty in that energy as well. I'm excited to see the conversations. But again, getting back to the important days, naturally this month, 1, 4, 7, 8, and 9 days are likely, or more highlighted is what I will say, because we're not only starting this month in that universal 1 day, but we're ending the month in this universal 4 day, but 9 and 8 are naturally in there. And you might be wondering, why is 7 in there? 7 is in there because of how 7 interacts with 9 and 8. And then on top of that, last year was a universal 7 year. So if you listen to my last episode about the universal 7 year wrap up, we're not going to just jump straight out of 7 energy into 8 energy in a way that is very much forgetting of 7. There's still going to be remnants. It wouldn't make sense for it to just cold turkey go away. It would sort of kind of feel very unnatural. And that's sort of kind of how universal years work, of when you're transitioning into those months at the beginning and the end of the year, you're still floating around with what was happening last year. And I feel like that sort of kind of sticks around for, depending on the year. And this is sort of kind of me just spitballing here, for the first and last 3 months of the year, you'll still have remnants of what's going on of that previous year. So since last year was a universal 7 year, I would say January, February, and March, we're still going to be seeing some of the 7 energy a little bit, especially considering how 7 interacts with 9, 1, and 2, because we're going to starting this year in a universal 9 month, but next year will be a universal 1 month, and then the month after that will be a universal 2 month. So seeing how 7 interacts with all of those will be very interesting, which makes it also a little bit of a hint for this year. Now, or rather not this year, but this month, haha. So, in regards to portals, everybody in the auntie, or rather, let me rephrase, a lot of people will tell you about the fact it's the first of the month. Okay, we got to do things because it's the first of the month. Now, I will say that the numerology for this year is something else, because last year we started off in an 8-9-7 energy, and we're starting this year off in a 9-1-8 energy. So instead of the universal day not being a 1 day, it is a 1 day now. It is actually a 1 day. So this is a very much a introductory energy to the year. So I'm excited to really see what headlines come out, what news comes out, who's talking about what. Like, I feel like there's going to just be a major influx around information today, and just awareness and perspective and perception is a very big theme. All of that is for today, specifically for this January 1st. Now, I will say that considering that today's a Monday, there's a moon energy in there as well. And the moon is connected to the number 2, and 2 reflects the number 8, which is the universal year. So I'm also excited to see in regards to themes around vulnerability, depth, honesty, trust, comfort, boundary, security, how all of that takes place today. And if you want to do anything in regards to embracing this 1-1 energy per se that everybody will speak on, I would say that this is a great day to spend on you. And when I say on you, it does not mean in isolation per se. If you do need some you time and some isolation, go for it. But if you spending time with you looks like you interacting with your family and spending time with your family or spending time with your friends or your partner or just even out of the house, whatever that is, something that would be pouring into you would be my suggestion for today specifically, especially with that moon day. If you do have the luxury to be able to take today off, I feel like today's a good day for that, and just sort of kind of just get a vibe for the energy, because this is the first day of a new year, and I'm not trying to scare you or anything or be like, oh my god, we don't know what's going on, but it's at the same time, baby, none of us have lived this day before. So we don't necessarily know exactly the timing of everything just yet. We're sort of kind of just getting our toes wet. We ain't even really dove completely into the water of this universal year. So yeah, now we'll say the next day that a lot of people are going to likely speak on is going to be 1/11, which is a Thursday, and Thursday is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is connected to not only the number 3, but also the number 5 and the number 6, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of also, again, emphasis on intellectualization, especially with that 3 and that 5 in there, because 3 is ruled by Mars and Venus along with that Jupiter, and then 5 is ruled by Mercury along with that Jupiter. So there's a lot of emphasis on intellectualization and comprehension and also expression, but also with 6 being in there a little bit in regards to energy. You have that Jupiter along with Venus in there. So there's also emphasis around overcompensation, sensory stimulation, things that feel good, and also the opposite of things that feel bad. So in regards to people being like, it's 11/11, 1/11, we gotta da-da-da-da-da-da. Today's numerology, or not today's, rather, 1/11's numerology is going to be that 9-2-8 energy. Now that 2 is simplified from that 11, and a lot of people will bring up master numbers, and master numbers in me, do I want to speak on this right this second? I'll do it at a later date, but I'm just going to say for now, we're simplifying this 11. Now, 2's relationship with 8 and 9 can bring frustration and mental fog, uncertainty, anxiety, and a little bit of angst, but at the same time, this could be a great day for deep energetic work, empathy, focused efforts, and just things along those lines of really taking that time to do like spiritual hygiene, but not necessarily spiritual hygiene, but emotional hygiene things. So I feel like that's a really big thing for that 1/11, which will be on that Thursday, but also even education around those things, and also letting the things take up space. So it might be a good rest day, especially with that 2, with that 8 and that 9, that can, like I said, it can be really just like, I don't like this. It can be really nasty, put a bitter taste in your mouth. But, it's interesting to see how that plays out. Now, 1/22, I honestly like this one. This is going to be on another Monday, and the numerology for that day is going to be 9-4-8. Now, that's actually the energy that we're also going to be ending the month on, if I'm not mistaken. And that being the case is also going to be fairly interesting. So with that energy, you get not only that 9 and 8 again, but we also have the moon in there because it's going to be on a Monday. So this is a great day for some, again, deep work, but also taking that leap because 4 is simplified from a 13. So you have a lot of awareness, you have a lot of potential, a lot of limitless, very much taking off the training wheels and kind of going for it because 4 is connected to faith in a way that is we don't necessarily know what's going to happen, but it's going to happen because 4 is a very visionary energy. It's connected. It's ruled by Uranus, the North Node, Saturn, and Mercury. And with that emphasis on that North Node, it's highlighting anywhere you can go, anywhere ahead of you. So I think that 22nd, being us again on that Monday, bringing that moon in there, and also 2 being half of 4, 2 reflecting 8, moon ruling the number 2, that just brings a lot of potential for some beautiful stuff to happen in a way that I'm really excited to see how that goes. I just think that that's going to be something special. There can also be themes around information, things around family can be in that, things around therapy can be in that, this can be in regards to legislation possibly, but it also can be in regards to just your personal experience with it. You might have therapy on this day per se. This could also be a very good time to step into a creative space if you wanted to, because that Monday brings a restful energy, more of an energy of ease per se, but that 4, that 9, and that 8, that is the dominant energy of that day in regards to universal month, day, and year, brings a lot more, okay, let's get something, let's move something, let's do something. So if you want to get something, do something, move something, hey, the 22nd, looking mighty nice. Now, I will say that the last day that I assume people will speak on would be the 23rd of this month, which is a Tuesday. Now, the universal energy of this day would be a universal 5-day, simplified from a 14, and that would make the full numerology of that day 958. Now, I'm not necessarily against this energy, but I would say that in regards to, like, for example, the 1st, aka today, but also the 22nd, those are more energies that I feel more comfortable on a global scale to work with, because it aligns more naturally with the energy of the year. Now, it's not to say that that's ultimately a good thing or ultimately a bad thing, and it's not to say the same thing for even this 958 energy on the 23rd, that it's ultimately a bad thing. It's just it may not be the smoothest, I will say. Now, I will say it might be a little bit more palatable, considering the fact that 5 is simplified from a 14 and 4 is half of that 8, and 1 reflects the number 9. 4 works really well with 9, 5 works really well with 9, but in regards to the universal year, maybe not. We might see a thing of whatever happens on the 23rd might be something that when it happens might not really necessarily peep it, but as time goes on, we might see some stuff be like, oh, that's what was going on. Got it. So that might be something that comes up. Now, getting into the impactful days in regards to based on the days that I like as a numerologist in regards to considering the day of the week, the universal energy, and so on. Now, there's a couple of things in here that I really like. I do really like the Thursday, January 4th. I think that's very nice, considering that it will be that 948 energy that we're going to end that year in. And I really want to put more emphasis on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays for this month of just a natural energy. Now, again, this is universal energy. Your personal numbers do still come into play. So again, I will say I recommend you figuring out your own numbers so you can have more guidance alongside of this universal energy. Now, I will say that with that 4, again, you have those same themes that I referenced in regards to the 22nd, but it's on a purity side because that is a pure 4 day. There's no supplementary number to create that for. So it's going to be fairly interesting in regards to movement and actions taken on the 4th, especially with it being on a Thursday and Thursday being ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter be connected to all the numbers that is connected to that 3, that 5, and that 6. It's a lot. It's a lot. The complexity is there. 6 really works well with 9. It does work well with 8 as well. 3 works well with 9. 3 sort of kind of can clash with 8 because it's sort of kind of opposing energy. 3 is more quick moving, whereas 8 is intense, but it's more slow moving. And it doesn't mean that they can't work together. They're just working on different timelines. And 5 with 8 is sort of kind of the same thing. They both move, but they're moving in different spaces. 5 is more connected to the mind, and 8 is more connected to the physical and what you can see. But 5 really works well with 9. So it's like, again, one of those things of like we might see it in regards to later in the year. It might not something to be that happens that day that we're all like, okay, yep, that happened this year or this day. Okay, we're taking note of this and we're keeping track of it. We're keeping it pushing. It might be something that we come back to and like, oh yeah, so this happened on January 4th and we all missed it type vibe. It can be those things, because for being connected to the spiritual side, it can also connect to the unknown and the things that are happening behind the scenes. And the behind the scenes doesn't necessarily always have to be spiritual. It can just be not in the public eye. So I'm excited to see how that will play out, because it's like also with this pure 4 of January 4th versus the 22nd's 4, simplified from that 13. What happens on the 22nd might be a little bit more publicized with that 3 and that 1 energy supplementary. So I'm excited to see how that all plays out. Now moving on to, because I'm trying to get through these numbers and I could spend a very long time on each of them, but I don't want to hold you up too long. I just want you to do whatever you're doing, listen to me chat, it's chopping it up real quick, but I do have a couple more days to get through, so I'm gonna try and keep it pushing. So we have Sunday, January 7th, that I really, 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 really like. like, because we have so many themes around information. Because again, we're coming from that universal 7 year that was last year, and that 7 is simplified from a 16. So that also brings 1 and 6 themes into it. So 1 being ruled by the sun, 6 being ruled by Venus and Jupiter. So there's an awareness here, but there's also a sensory stimulation and the desire and the passion, the creativity, just the beauty of it all as well. But also with 7 being ruled by Neptune, the South Node, and Mercury, it also connects to that information, that delusion, those conspiracy themes or conspiracy theories and themes of that sort. So I'm excited to see what discussions will happen on January 7th, being especially that Sunday being ruled by the sun. So, something to pay attention to. I would also throw the 8th and also the 9th in there. So Monday, January 8th, has an emphasis on power, authority, laws, government, politics, spirituality, religious beliefs, and also traditions that also might impact your autonomy or your personal beliefs or well-being, your mental health, information in regards to misinformation, but also the access we have to information and etc. like that. So things that it's just like, okay, because we have that double 8, especially with the numerology for that day being 988, it puts a lot of emphasis on Saturn and Pluto, which are very powerful energies. And I always will say that Saturn is connected to life in and of itself because it connects to time. So this can also be something that was a while in the making, but also something that might hit a lot of people deep because this is happening on a Monday, and Monday is connected to the moon, and moon is connected to the number 2. And with 2 and 8 reflecting each other, that puts an emphasis on that vulnerability, on that depth, on that introspection, on those boundaries. And also in a way, in regards to boundaries, autonomy. So it's something to just, pay attention to. I'm intrigued to see how that plays out. Now, on regards to the 9th, we have 998 being the numerology. So it's very much continued themes from the 8th. It would be on a Tuesday, and Tuesday is ruled by Mars, and Mars rules over the number 9 as well as the number 3. So it continues those themes from the 8th, but there's an emphasis on transition, transformation, benefit and abuse of power, duty, completion, endings. This might bring some, changes to old systems, beliefs, and things of that sort. So I feel like the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th are probably the days that I'm like looking at the most, because that's just intriguing to look at. Because when I'm pulling these days, to give you more context, when I'm pulling these days, I'm not just pulling every single, 1, 2, or rather 1, 4, 7, 8, or 9 day. I'm not pulling all of those. I'm not pulling every single Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday. I'm looking at those two things, the day of the week and the actual number, universal number of that day, and combining them to see the most impactful blend, basically. So it's just interesting to see that the transition from the 7th to the 9th of the numerology of that day, and also even just the rulers of those days. And also this would be possibly an impact on those astrological transits that include those planets as well. So it's going to be interesting. Now, I will say the next couple of days, I think that those would probably be the peaks, would be that 7th, that 8th, that 9th. But I would also probably throw, in regards to something potent, I would probably throw the 25th in there. Would probably be something else I would throw in there in regards to maybe things around the things that might happen on Monday the 8th and Tuesday the 9th. That might be another day that comes up, but also maybe even the 22nd might be another one of those days. But let me get back to this list in order. We have Saturday, January 13th is another 948 day. So, interesting day. I feel like this is a great day to spend some time. This would be honestly a cool day to travel, but I would not say long distance travel. The traveling might take a while for you to get there, but it's more giving road trip. If you want to go on a trip, January 13th, I'm not necessarily too mad at that. It gives you the expansion of 1 and 3 in that supplementary number of that 4, and 4 gives you that possibility for anything to happen, both good and bad. So again, I wouldn't say take a long trip, but quick little, let's go up the street to grandma's house type vibe. might be the vibe. Now, I will say Tuesday, January 16th, is something else that I like. And that one is a 7-day simplified from a 16. So I really like that. I think that will be very cool because, again, we have that 9, 7, 8 energy. Now, when you have 9, 7, and 8 in the same number, you have a numerological pattern that is 7, 8, 9. Now, they're not in order, but those 3 numbers are involved. And those last 3 numbers are believed to have a level of maturity because there are the last 3 numbers. So this can also put an emphasis back on the themes that might be happening in regards to that January 8th and 9th. In a subtle way, and again in a way that we might not see, because 7 is connected to the unconscious in its own way and also connected to the past. So these are things that could have been in the works for a long period of time, because even before the public knows about a lot of the legislation and the laws that are passed, these are in the works for a while before people see them. And I don't know how I necessarily feel about that information, but we're gonna move on. So that's another impactful day that I'm intrigued to see play out. Monday, January 22nd, is going to be a universal 4 day. So that 9, 4, 8, but that 4 is simplified from a 13. So again, a lot of possibilities of things to transpire, basically. And then with the moon being in there, again, with that being that Monday, and then that 22nd being 2 2s, you also have the moon again. So I would also put, this would probably be a very emotionally charged day, especially with how 2 and 4 interact with 2, or rather 2 times 2 equaling 4. We have the themes of multiples, and then 4 times 2 equals 8. So again, multiples. So there's a lot of just building on this same energy. And then we have that supplementary 1 of that 13 coming, that's creating that 4, reflecting that 9. 1 and 9 reflect each other. And then 2 and 8 reflect each other. So there's a lot of internalization. So this might be a very emotionally heavy day. And I don't really like that for us, but it comes and goes. It happens when it happens. So I would definitely say boundaries is a very big theme for that day. A lot also patience. Just take your time. It can explode really quickly. It can build up very quickly, especially when you have multiple reflections in the same energy. It can build up very quickly and feel very overwhelming very quickly. So take it easy on yourself that day, and take it easy on other people that day. It's not just, let's say, people just walk all over you or anything like that, but yeah, no, it might be one of them days. Now, and the next day would be Thursday, January 25th, which is that universal 7 day again, but that 7 is simplified from a 16. So we have that 9, 7, 8. So again, that 7, 8, 9 numerological pattern is in there. Now, with this being on a Thursday being ruled by Jupiter and connected to those numbers 3, 5, and 6, there's a lot of potency here. And this would happen for any other 7 day that would be happening on a Thursday, which I don't think any of the other ones are happening, all in regards to Universal 7 Day specifically, are happening on a Thursday in that month, considering that we're at the 25th day and there's only, I think, 31 months, oh my gosh, 31 days in this month. That 7, this is very interesting because not only is Jupiter connected to the number 3, 5, and 6, but 3, 5, and 6 all have a level of relationality with the number 7. 3 reflects the number 7, which again, reflections are 2 numbers that are sitting on opposite sides of the same vibration. So 3 is this external expression, where 7 is this internal expression. And then you have 5 sharing a rulership, Mercury rulership, with 7, and also they sit in multiple numerological patterns together. They sit in 1, 5, 7, 9, 3, 5, 7. What's another one? There's 1, 5, 7. I want to say is also in there. Like, there's a bunch of numerological patterns that 5 and 7 sit in together. So that also highlights a very strong relationality. And then 7 and 6 highlight have a shared energy, not necessarily rulership, but energy in regards to Neptune being ruled by, 7 being ruled by Neptune and 6 being ruled by Venus. Venus and Neptune have a level of energy similarity in regards to their connections to beauty, and glamour and entertainment and pleasure. So there's that same similar energy. And then also 6, 7, 8 is a numerological pattern in and of itself. So there's also that. So there's a lot of very potent numerological things happening this day Now, on a personal experience side, how that would translate would be a very strong emphasis around those numbers of 3, 5, and 6 in regards to 7. So again, we have that internalization from that reflection of 3 and 7. This might be a day that people take a lot of things more personally. Might feel like you're coming at me when you really aren't, because of the internalization of that 3 being that social expression or public expression, and 7 being more that personal introspective expression. So there can be a little bit of a clash there, but there also can be a lot of cool ideas that make it out. It might be even cool headlines or announcements or articles or research that is done on these days in regards to 5 and 7's interaction with that Mercury rulership, so things that are stimulating the mind. And then we also have 6 and 7 connecting to this beauty, this glamour, this pleasure, this lust, this love, this indulgence. So that's going to be very interesting. And then that combined with that 9 and 8 energy, okay, how will this play out long term? So it's going to be very interesting. Now, I'm gonna wrap it up because we have only 3 more days left that I would take note of, and it would be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, being the 26th, the 27th, and 28th. I really like all of these numbers because also these are exalted numbers. I forgot to mention that for the 25th. The 25th is an exalted 7, and the exaltations come from Vedic numerology. So this will be also, again, a very important day or impactful day. Or rather, impactful energy. The energy of the day can be very intense. And that translates into that Friday, the 26th, with that exalted 8 being the 26th, but that universal day will be an 8 simplified from a 17. So we get that 988 energy again. So this might be a reminder or a progression of things that happened on Monday, January 8th, because there's again the same pattern of that 988. Then we have Saturday, January 27th, being that exalted 9 energy, but the universal energy of that day will be a universal 9 simplified from an 18. So we have 998. And then we have Sunday, January 28th, which will be 918, which is how we started the year. So, started the month as well. So it's going to be very interesting those last 3 days in regards to, or last even 4 days, because we have the 25th in there. So the 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th. I'm excited because those are the exalted numbers that really that I would say pay attention to for this month. Now I won't go too in depth about those 3 days because I feel like I've been talking a while, but I will say for the 28th, there's going to be an emphasis around self-powered influence, confidence and insecurity, and also power imbalances. And I feel like those same power imbalances can come up on Friday as well, because again of that 988 energy. So again, things that are happening on Monday, January 8th might still play out Friday, January 26th. So it's gonna be interesting to say the least. But I hope you enjoyed this forecast of this month, because it's gonna be an interesting one. It honestly is. It's something none of us have ever really experienced before, at least not in a very long time, considering the fact that this is not the first universal 8 year ever. But it's been a while since we've been in one. So since it's been a while, we're just sort of kind of getting our feet wet again. But I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for listening to this, because, hey, listen, we've been here for a little minute. But share this with somebody who either wants to talk about numbers or is interested about numbers or wants to even understand the overall energy for January. Happy New Year. Like when I said Nina Simone feeling good is the vibes that I'm feeling right now, I just say go play that song. Go play it. See how you feel. See if you resonate with it. See if it's the bop of the month. That's the energy I'm catching right now. But make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and also on YouTube at Numbers with Jacari to catch up on everything that I'm talking about. Because we are taking over. We're taking over. We're dipping our feet in on everything we can dip our feet on. So I hope you enjoyed this. I will definitely catch you in the next one. You have an amazing January, and I'll see you soon. Peace.